Max, let's go to the hotline, as long as the computer will hold up.
Yeah, right.
And talk with a guy who is often mistaken for a Texas high school football computer. We talk with the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer. It is Craig Way. Craig, how are things in Austin, Texas?
Well, they're really good, and, much like a computer, I have my meltdown, too. So, it works out. Are you one of those people, Tep, who believes in everything happens for a reason? Are you one of those kind of people?
Yeah, I'm somebody that believes in a grand plan.
Okay, see, here was my deal. I had ordered a coffee off of an app from a major coffee retail establishment that I'm sure you're well acquainted with. And so I'd done that, and I thought, I wonder if I have time to pick up that coffee before they call. And right when I was about to think to myself, nope, I don't, I'll just wait. Then I get the text, yeah, there's some technical problems, hang tight. I said, no worries. I thought, I'd go get my coffee.
Okay.
So everything happens for a reason.
We did it. We made it. It's fantastic. Okay, so Craig, you've now had a little bit of time to kind of oversee the wreckage of Week 6 of the Texas high school football season. We've talked about how it was such a small week relatively. It was big on drama. And now that the dust has settled, is there one kind of emerging storyline from Week 6 that you think is going to stick with us, or do you think that by the time we get 3 weeks in from 3 weeks from now, we're going to look back at Week 6 and say, "Huh, that was weird, huh? Oh well, back to normal."
Yeah, I think Week 6 was one big smoldering one-off dump heap. Is what it was. You just had a lot of weird stuff. Not that any shocking wins are a pile of dung or something like that. Congratulations to those coaches and those student athletes who made the big plays and pulled off the surprises and all of those kinds of things. I just think it turns out to be that way for all of us who are on the outside trying to get a handle on what this is all about. You and I talked about this on the show Friday night on High School Scoreboard Live, and we talked a little bit on my radio program on Monday. I think you extrapolate this out. I really do feel, and it would require some more research and empirical evidence to turn it all up, but I think it's now, I don't know how much it's going to be the norm as opposed to the exception, but we see upsets and surprises and unexpected consequences every week. And I think it's all a part of the new realignment. It's not blaming the UIL. It's the way it is because of the population base and the way the population base just leans forward or to the right, falling to the east side of I-35. There's more travel involved. There's strange bedfellows in terms of new district opponents and partners, and there are extra non-district games being played. And I think those games are also taking their effect, whether it be through injury or one team gaining more experience to, in a later week, pull a surprise that they might not otherwise have done in prior years. I think it all is one big mashup of what's happened as a result of this, and probably over time we'll get a better read on it, but that's the best read I can get on it right now.
You said that for the first time on Scoreboard on Friday night, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since, about how you feel like a lot of this enhanced chaos and a lot of this, especially you look at particular classifications for a Division II, in some respects 2A Division I, how there's just these constant shifts, how that's directly tied to realignment. I haven't stopped thinking about that as a result, and I think it's a theory I'm starting to come around on, and to kind of put a fine point on it, you're not saying that the UIL is out there trying to set up, trying to pack some districts full of certain teams, but basically because of the population shifts and the way that things are growing here in the state of Texas, we are now going to get more and more unpredictable and perhaps off-kilter results than we have in the past decades or so.
No doubt about it, and it's nobody's fault but population's fault, so to speak, or at least the eastern side of the state's fault in terms of population growth. It's not anybody's fault. It is unintended consequences, and it's victim of circumstance with it being the way it is. And people say, well, give us examples. Examples would be some of those surprises that you would see, but it would also be, I'll give this to you, Tep, it would also be San Angelo Central falling with Trinity 70-28. Things like that when you have far-flung districts. I look at we had Coach Mason on from Andrews on the other night. Here's a guy who's playing non-district games up until the 7th week of the season, and it's hard to prepare for that. I'm looking at a state-ranked Liberty Hill team that has only played 4 ball games to this point because they had a difficult time scheduling. Now they plunge headlong into district play. I don't know how much of a push Fredericksburg can give them this week, but it'll be interesting to see as they kind of careen toward that final week showdown with Canyon Lake. So there are, you might say, effects, cause and effect that's going on all across the state in all classifications, but I think it starts because of the population shift and what's happened with realignment.
We're talking with Craig Way, the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. So now, Craig, we're now into week 7. Some of the big school districts are actually starting to take shape. We're starting to get a feel for what these districts are going to look like. Is there one district in particular that is catching your eye as far as one that you're going to have to watch to the finish, and why is it 13-5A Division II?
Well, let me put it to you this way. There's a very real possibility that after this week, there will be a 6-way tie for first place at 2-1 in that district. There, and it's because, and again, here's another byproduct of what's happened with realignment, because you have this mix, this combustible mix of programs who are hungry, who haven't had a lot of success in a while, mixed with some young programs who've had a little bit of success, mixed in with 2, as I call them, expansion teams, first-year programs who've never played at the varsity level, and then a couple of programs that have been around a long time that have been downtrodden. So you mix all that together, and you've got one lean, mean fighting machine. You got a bunch of teams that see an opportunity to compete for a playoff spot. Todd Patman, bless his heart, has just had beat-up team after beat-up team at Bastrop over the years. Now he's got one that's just now starting to get healthy, which makes them, and they've got great athletes, so it's going to make them a little bit dangerous, I think. You have a Cedar Creek team that's been nothing because they haven't been around that long. And they came within a missed 2-pointer of being able to knock off Bastrop for the first time ever. You have an Eastview team that's made 1 playoff appearance that has a running back by the name of Zion Hester. Remember Apollos Hester, the big YouTube sensation a few years ago? His brother. And Zion is been a factor for them. You have Brenham, who was supposed to be the be-all, end-all to win that district, and they needed a touchdown with 13 seconds left to beat Eastview 35-34. And then you got this first-year program in Glenn, who has started off 2-0 in the district, and whose coach, Rob Shainfeld, says, yeah, we expected that. We think we can compete when we look at the rest of this district. So you have all of that mixed in with some others, and that's why this thing's going to be freaky all the way to the final Friday night.
Finally, Craig, we're looking ahead to week 7, and there's some times when we play this game that I've kind of got to reach for big games and be like, oh well, maybe that's, or I know where you're going. I legitimately have no idea what you're going to pick here. I have an inkling, but we're going to see. I'm going to give you 3 games. You can only see one. You can only pay attention to one. You can either go Lake Travis and Westlake. That's my pick, Max. I think he's going to pick that one. Lake Travis and Westlake. You can do Lufkin and College Station. Or you can do Gunner and Holiday. I mean, talk about – that's probably – since week 1, that's probably the best triumvirate we could come up with in this game. Which one are you most geeked about?
Yeah, I'll probably save my lower classification one for next week for Childress and Canadian, I think. I will almost – or, and you and I talked about it, Lexington-Clifton possibly next week, which could be really big at Clifton. I mean, the knee-jerk reaction is to go Lake Travis, Westlake, and I visited with both head coaches, and they're very calm and resolute and everything and all that stuff, and the kids know each other really well. But I'm really kind of a little more intrigued by Lufkin and College Station. I think we know how good Lufkin is. College Station proved its mettle a year ago by winning the state title. What do they do for an encore? Well, so far they haven't disappointed. that looks like it'd be a really attractive matchup, even with the given of what we think we'll get out of Lake Travis, Westlake. But I think the more heart-stopping finish could be Lufkin College Station.
It is a tremendous week of Texas high school football, and, of course, we will wrap it all up for you on High School Scoreboard Live, 11 o'clock Friday night, where you can see the visage of Craig Way, the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer, of course, the longtime host there. I will come along. I get like the first couple minutes off of that show, which is nice. But then I'll join him and sully the show. He's Craig Way. Follow him on Twitter at CraigWay1. Craig, appreciate your time, my friend, and I will see you on Friday.
You know what? You do look like there's more color in your face after you take those first two segments off when you come off the set of the other. You look better. You really do. I think you've been able to catch a collective breath, and that's helped.
Thank you, Craig. I appreciate it. I'll see you Friday.
You bet. See you then, Ted.